I'm going to take this mask down. My wife blames everything on the mask. She says her face hadn't broken out since she was a teenager, that she started wearing this mask. I told her that mask was double between the baseboards. She didn't like that either. So, it's great to be here this morning with all of you. It truly is. A week ago, I officially got my 29072 zip code. So I'm proud to be here today. All of you, like I said, I'm so proud to be here. Thank you, Royce. Royce Shannon, I'm so proud of him. He's the guy that keeps the lights on, makes things roll. The guy you really need to meet today, if you're in Lexington, is Patrick Bloom. Raise your hand, Patrick. Patrick is the guy that really keeps the lights on. You can blame him for trimming the trees, and you can blame him for having to reset your electronic devices. But Patrick does a great job for us. Kim and Dana are here. They handle a lot of our corporate communications, so they can tell you when your lights are about to go out and when they think they might be coming back on. But they handle a lot of our outreach and communication in the community. Royce talked about how important that was. And Travis Hall, who is here, Travis is behind the scenes guy. He makes everything work. All those switches you see out on those poles to get your lights back on quick when a tree comes in there or a car hits the pole. Travis takes care of that. And Travis, glad you're here. Now, raise your hand, Travis. Let the people see you there. Thank you, Travis. All right, but I love you guys, and I appreciate what you do every day. So today, it's my talk. I'm going to kind of change things. This is not to be inspirational. It really needs to be a public service announcement based on what we're going through with COVID, okay? I mean, that's it. Wayne Kaufman back there, I didn't see you stand up. There's a retiree right there. He might have more years of service at the company than all of us combined. So good to see you here today, Mr. Wayne. But it really is changing gears. It's going to be a public service announcement because what we really need to talk about is social distancing, masks, and testing. All right, that's really what we need to talk about, okay? So, let's talk about social distancing for a while. Because this COVID thing, everybody says, oh, this is the year that's changed our lives. This is the year that's changed the world. This 2020 has taken the place of 9/11. There's so many changes that are going on in our lives with our kids and with our family. I don't know if I can even handle it. And I can tell you, it ain't no change. We've been socially distancing ourselves for years. For years. For all eternity. You don't believe me? The chief cornerstone that became the chief cornerstone that was rejected by the builders was social distancing through his entire ministry. And who better to tell us something about social distancing, and what is a better story about social distancing than the parable of the Good Samaritan? I mean, let's look at it. A guy was going from Jerusalem to Jericho. He was fallen upon by thieves who beat him almost senseless, almost to near death. Okay? And what happened after that? Well, of course, at the end of the story, we all focus on the Good Samaritan who came in and did exactly what he was supposed to do and exactly what we should probably do. Okay? And then, of course, we focus on the narrator of this parable. But today, I want us to focus on two other individuals in this story. Because I think that's the challenge of COVID-19. That's the challenge of 2020. And that's the challenge for each one of us today as we go about running our business and our daily lives and how we interact with others. The first was a priest. A priest came by and saw the man lying there. Now let me tell you about a priest. A priest has a lot in common with us. It was a hereditary position in the temple. You were basically given that. And we all in here were given by our families and blessed. And we were given a furlong's head start in how we were raised in our home, right? We're a lot like that, a hereditary position that we inherited. The other thing is we had resources. We all had resources. I mean, y'all are dressed up to the nines today. Everybody looking good and fresh, clean haircut, shaving. Everybody looks good. So we're blessed with resources just like he was. And a lot of us all have training. Formal training that puts us in a way that we can assist and we can help. But we're kind of like that priest sometimes, particularly in times such as this. We forget who we are, we forget how blessed we are, and what do we do when we have these opportunities that rise in front of us? We pass by on the other side of the road to avoid where there is a need. Or maybe we're like the Levite. He came up and saw the man there, and he decided to pass by on the other side of the road as well. Levite, he was in charge of the music in the temple. He observed people coming in, make sure they didn't have skin lesions or disfigurement, let the divine blessings come into the temple. He was the gatekeeper as well. All the same formal training, all the same advantages and benefits of everything going on. And what did he do? He passed by on the other side. God, aren't we just like the Levite and the priest? Think about it. Think about it. I mean, here we are facing total upheaval. People are beaten down. People are upset. People can't go to football games. Kids can't go to school. We're separated. Now's not the time to social distance. Now is the time to reach out. That's what's important. I mean, think about it. Think about some of the other parables and think about some of the other stories involving social distancing. A lot of people wear bands and say, what would Jesus do? Somebody else came out and said, he would love. Just like Royce taught. He would love. Think about what he does when he sees little Zacchaeus up in the tree. How many of y'all see Zacchaeus is out there? Zacchaeus wanted to social distance because he was cheating, a fraud, and a liar. And what did he say? He said, get down. I'm coming to eat with you tonight. I'm overcoming all of these social things that separate us, and I'm coming to eat with you tonight. And what did he do? He changed it. He changed it. Okay? He gave half of what he had to the poor, and anybody he cheated, he gave 4 times what he had taken. That's what you do in social distancing. You reach out so you can make a profound difference in somebody's life. And so that's what he does. Even to a thief on the cross who has been social distance. One mocks him, one embraces him, and he says, today, you will be with me in paradise. How to reach out during times of social distancing. I use one of your own chamber members for that. I work over there on 12th Street. And when I'm not about to get run over by her Range Rover coming down 12th Street, I will tell you a perfect example of it. And she doesn't have to do it. But you go over to Nephron, you can't find a parking space over there. And the reason you can't find a parking space over there is because you have all of these teachers throughout the Midlands who have been given an opportunity to come and work there at this pharmaceutical company that we're blessed to have in our community. In the middle of COVID, in the middle of school not being in session, in the middle of all these furloughs, that parking lot is jammed full of vehicles where these teachers are given an opportunity. I think we need to give Lou Kennedy a round of applause. Social distance.
My speaking ability is up.
Yes. Yes. The Casey Cowboys love her. They all know it. But anyway.
That is true.
Yes, indeed. The other thing is masking. I mean, we've been wearing masks our entire lives, haven't we? We've been wearing masks all our lives. We have. We mask our disobedience. Okay? We've always done that. We mask our denial. We mask our betrayal. We've always been wearing masks. That's nothing new. Always we have worn masks. There's nothing new about it whatsoever. In thought, word, and deed, when we don't live up to our potential and our blessings, we're putting on masks. And we have on masks, and we've been wearing masks our entire lives. We have. We've been wearing masks our entire lives. So what's new about 2020 as it relates to it? You know, there are 2 sports that I watched on TV here recently that came back the quickest on TV. All right. The first one was WWE Monday Night Raw, but it's not a sport. Okay, all right. It looked like athletes, but it ain't a sport. So I'm not going to count it. But the 2 are PBR, professional bull riding, and NASCAR. Those are the 2 that have come back. You wonder why I like those? Go watch what they do with their opening ceremonies. Starts with the prayer and goes from there, buddy. And I can promise you one thing, even the Brazilian Cowboys come to attention when they go through that. And so it's something to watch. But one of the things with NASCAR that I think really plays everything out is one of the things that they decided to do this year is they decided to have a choose cone. Some of you may have seen it. Normally what would happen is they go around the track and race and race and race, and then a caution would come out. and the yellow flag would fly. And when it did, what NASCAR would do is whatever position you were running in, that's where you set up when that green flag would wave again and you'd start going, okay? Well, this time what they did is they said, you got a choice. You got a choice. And so what happens is you come up to that cone and you either go high or you go low. You got a choice. And they started in the Bristol All-Star race. They had it at Darlington this past weekend when old Kevin Harvick won because Truex turned in front of Chase Elliott, wiped him out, bummed my night out. But anyway, I wanted that Chevrolet in victory lane. But anyway, bottom line is you have a choice. Dylan, in that race at Bristol in the All-Star race, his team had watched races at Bristol over 700 clips. And Austin Dillon of racing at Bristol. And Austin Dillon commented that when you came up to the cone, you had a choice. You could take the high road, the high lane, or you could take the low lane. And every time he came up to that choice cone, he took the high lane. And the reason he did is he said, when you get down there in that low lane, there's a lot of gravel. There's a lot of rock. There's a lot of rubber. There's a lot of oil. There's a lot of fluid. And as a result of that, you get down in there, you're going to spin out. You're going to wreck. You're going to end up in the garage. You're going to end up outside the race. But then he said, man, every time I come to the choice cone and leave this race, I'm going to go in the high lane. And in the high lane, what you have there is, he says, you got clean air. You got clean air. And when you have that clean air, it just sucks into that car's radiator. And he says, now listen to this. He said, when you're in that high lane and you're running and you got clean air out in front of you, he says it carries you. It carries you past all the other cars. And he said, even when you come out of that turn, instead of slipping and sliding, what do? This is important. You build momentum. You build momentum. It slingshots you far ahead of everyone else when you're in that high groove and you're running in that clean air. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you, 2020, the Lord is sitting in that flag stand and He has waved that yellow flag. He's waved that yellow flag to each one of us, letting us know this is caution time. You're in a caution. A caution when you ought to reevaluate yourself, your team members, and how you're running this race of life. It's a caution. And you've got that cone in front of you. And you can sit there and buy all the negative news. You can sit there and wring your hands and talk about how depressed you are. Okay? Or you can develop some good, successful habits. Every day. Every day. Every single day. 2 of them. Prayer, have an intimate relationship, read the Bible. You can't do those 2 things and not have a positive life. You just can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm taking y'all to church this morning, but this is what you need to do. It is. And so the bottom line is that caution is waving up and down. And it may as well have 2020 written on it. And you got a choice. You're coming up on that cone. You got a choice with your family. You got a choice with your work. You got a choice in your marriage. You got a choice in your community. You got a choice with your employees. And you can either decide to go down there and run in the gravel and roll around with everybody else and ruin your life, or you can make a conscious effort to hit that high lane, run in that clean air, very clean air, and let that momentum carry you through this life and into eternity. You are the people of God. You've been bought with love and joy. Go into the world and be a witness to that. Amen and amen. Thank you.